going to mute myself. Okay.
Test says, okay. We are live on YouTube, and let's try to go live on TikTok. All right, we should be live on YouTube and TikTok. Testing everything. First time doing this, so forgive me. No sound detected. 1, 2, 3. What about now? All right, looks like we should be good. Ahora. So let's see here. Awesome. Okay, so yep, YouTube is live. We are live. Okay, YouTube is working, not lagging. Let's test TikTok if it's working. And oh, hi Fernie, welcome. Welcome to the TikTok live. Woohoo! All right, so let's see who's going to be joining us on today's webinar. We're going to be going ahead and learning a lot of information today, guys. Very excited. See who we can get to join on here. Awesome. And then we're going to be having a lot of different people join us today, as we're going to be going live on our webinar today. So that way we can listen and do everything and learn on how to avoid some of these big mistakes most people make. Let's see here how this is doing on sound. As we are. Then we're going to be having a lot of different people join us today. Perfect. Well, I found myself on TikTok and I found myself on YouTube. Awesome. Welcome guys. Really appreciate you guys joining for today's home buyer event. We're going to be going over different things to avoid, different items you should avoid to avoid big, high costly mistakes. Just waiting here as we're getting started a little early. We're getting set up still. Class will begin today at 7 p.m. So really excited to have everyone join us and get this going. Perfect. Welcome to our home buyer class today. We're going to be teaching you guys on some of the biggest costly mistakes people make on avoid that you should avoid. Okay, we're going to be getting started here at 7 p.m. In the meanwhile, I am answering questions. So if you are interested in buying a home, or you're a first-time home buyer, or even an investor, and you have questions on things you should avoid, or just questions in general on what to do on how to buy a home, I'm here to help. Right now, I am doing Q&As. So any questions you guys might have, please put them down on the chat. I am answering them so we can get that going. Let me see here if I can see any comments. I cannot see comments, but that's okay. I don't know why I cannot see comments on TikTok. Can you guys write questions for me? Yes, no, maybe so. If you are on TikTok, I am answering any questions regarding home buying that you might have, especially on the lending side. I own a mortgage company, so happy to answer any of those questions. But I am not seeing any comments or questions on TikTok, and I'm not sure why. What am I doing wrong? I'm a new guy, completely new at this, guys. One, two, three. See if I can see it. Are you putting comments in TikTok, Fernie? Yeah. That's awkward. I don't know why. No puedo mirar. I did see that it says that I have to do 3 TikToks live before I unlock all the features. So I don't know if maybe...
I saw the one that you wrote test, but I don't know why you cannot see mine.
Can you write again now? See, I'm answering questions regarding home buying, guys. Any questions you might have regarding buying a home, investing, first-time home buyers. Aha, I saw your chat, Fernie.
Perfect. So maybe it was because of how many people there were. I don't know.
I do not know. But again, if you have any questions regarding home buying, please let me know. I am doing Q&As right now. I own a mortgage company. Have been in the real estate business for quite a while now, and happy to help on any questions you might have regarding buying a home. That could be first-time home buyers, investors, anything like that. Fernie, can you write one more thing, I guess, just to make sure it does or doesn't work? And it wasn't like a one-time thing. Let's see if it works again.
You see, I added the link, the booking link.
Yep, it did not come through this time. Weird.
Let me try hi again.
Hi again works. Maybe you're not allowed to post URL links.
Maybe.
Maybe you're not allowed to post URL links at all. But we are answering questions and Q&As on TikTok Live, along with YouTube Live. My singing voice is not muy bueno.
Look, now I wrote, here's the link. Do you get that?
Nope, nothing with links. Hello? I got hello. I got hi and hello. I bet you
it looks like
I bet you
it
they
looks
control.
like again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it lagging this time on TikTok or not so much?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay. Yeah.
But it is I feel like the actual live is on Zoom and TikTok works well, but not as well as Zoom.
Yeah, well, like I said, I know that there's a latency. I try to make it smaller so that way it's easier. But cool. What about on YouTube? Did you find me there?
I'm on your live on YouTube, but um I have you muted there because if not, I am going to
Yeah,
I'm
you're
going
gonna
to
double echo and go
like
crazy.
yeah yeah.
No
So I don't
worries.
know if I think that one is going well though.
Yeah, no, it looked like it wasn't lagging or any. I mean, again, it looks like there's a latency, but not lagging.
camera in there is better.
The camera on there is better
Yeah, than the
on
one on
YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
camera on TikTok, I cannot use the same camera because I have to do 3 lives before I can unlock the feature that I can use my nice camera. It's so weird, all these TikTok rules. But that's okay. We're gonna make it work, and we are gonna learn how to do all this stuff. Poquito a poquito. What is this? I think maybe what I need to do is go ahead and do a TikTok live just in the middle of the day while sitting at my desk. And just answer questions throughout the day, you know? That way
exactly.
I can unlock the features quicker. Much quicker that way. Because it says I have to do, well, maybe I can do it today. We'll see. It says 3 TikTok lives for 25 minutes each. So, and then all the features I think are unlocked. Welcome everyone. For those of you joining on TikTok Live or YouTube, welcome. I am here live today answering any Q&As you might have. That way we can go ahead and help you answer anything you need regarding home buying. Let me know if you have any questions on anything regarding home buying. Again, that could be first-time home buyers, investment homes. Drop your questions. Ooh, Fernie, can you try writing a question in there to see if it takes on a full question versus just a word hi?
TikTok.
On TikTok, because I think that's the one that's being weird, right? Yep, I got the word hi again. What about a question? Preguntas, questions. Any questions? How are you? I'm good. Yes, I got it. Hey Al, welcome. I'm here. My name's Elgin. I own a mortgage company and basically helping people answer their questions on how to buy a home, whether that's your first time home buyer, whether that's going to go ahead and be an investment home. If you have any questions, any thoughts on it, I'm going to be up here actually also teaching the class starting at 7. So let me know if there's any questions you might have regarding home buying. I'm going to be up here. Tristan, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our online webinar today. We're teaching on how to buy a home. Okay, bye, Tristan. Good seeing you. That was quick in and out. Al, let me know if you have any questions on how to buy a home, man. Like I said, we're going to be starting the class here at 7. It's an hour long. It's going to be jam-packed with phenomenal information on what you should do and what you should avoid when buying a home. So I'm very excited to teach everyone this stuff because I know it makes a big difference in people's lives. So I'm very excited about it all. I gotta make sure my phones are muted so they're not ringing in the background. That would be a good thing to have my phones muted. And we'll be starting class here soon. Class will start right at 7. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions out, anything I can do, anything I can answer, and anyone else that is joining, please let us know. All right, we have our first people starting to join the waiting room. Very excited. Got people already joining the waiting room. We got people telling us that they are still driving to the house. And I should make sure that I have my do not disturb settings on. Perfecto. My do not disturb settings are on. Welcome to our live webinar today. welcome to our home buyer masterclass. That's what we're doing. A home buyer masterclass today. So, home buyer masterclass. Welcome to today's class. Welcome to today's homebuyer masterclass. We're going to be getting started soon. In the meanwhile, I am fielding any questions you might have, so please let me know. Really want to make sure I answer all your guys' questions, concerns, anything that we might be able to do to help you guys become homeowners. On the other end, we got a bunch of people already joining our Zoom room. So very exciting. Class will be starting in 8 minutes. 8 more minutes for class to start. Very, very exciting. Can't wait. You guys are going to learn a lot of information today on how to buy a home. If you want to get the full experience, reach out to us, send us a DM, and we can invite you to our next one where you get the full experience, because you actually get to join through the Zoom class. You get to see all the stuff that we're actually teaching. And again, there's tons of it. Access to the free consultations, everything. So if you want to get full access to all that, just let us know. We will invite you to all of it. Let's do it. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Fernie, are you letting people into the actual class? If so, I am ready. Welcome, everyone. I am ready to go live on the Zoom, Fernie, whenever you are. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome to our homebuyer masterclass tonight. I appreciate you guys joining a few minutes early. I really appreciate it. My name is Elgin Perez. I'm the owner of Ace Lending Group. Thank you again so much for joining. I know it is Wednesday night, almost 7 p.m., so I really appreciate the effort you've put in. Introduce yourself in the chat if you don't mind. If you're joining on your phone, you should just be able to click right on the screen and it should let you chat with me. Send a message. Who are you? Where are you from? Okay? I really want to get to know you guys. Today's class is going to be very interactive and jam-packed with information. Like I said, it's a homebuyer class. It's our master class that I'm teaching tonight, which means you are really going to get really involved on how to buy a home, information regarding mortgages, credit, more importantly, mistakes you got to avoid. Mistakes you shouldn't make because it could cost you thousands of dollars, or even worse, it could prevent you from ever owning a home. So we're going to make sure that you learn this information and you have it, but we're going to squeeze it all in just an hour, okay? Let me go ahead and I got my co-host here, Fernie. Fernie, could you open up the waiting room so everyone can just come in? Let me know if you need help with that. Just so you guys know, we are streaming on YouTube and on TikTok as well. So if you see me kind of answering some random questions, that's what we're doing. But welcome, Lewis, to our Masterclass homebuyer class here. If you want to go ahead and tell me where you're from, Lewis, what brought you here today? Are you a first-time homebuyer? Are you an investor? Kenya, welcome. Welcome to our homebuyer masterclass today. Really, really appreciate you joining. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Kenya. What side of town are you on? Are you in Central Florida? Are you out of Florida? Chanel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Chanel. If you don't mind, tell me where you're from. Today's class is going to be super interactive, so please get used to using that chat button. You're joining on your phone, get ready to be typing. I'm going to answer all your questions, and I will be staying here until all your questions are answered. Okay? So please don't think that we're going to be doing anything else but answering your questions. All right? Lewis, you're a first-time homebuyer from Mexico and Colombia. Wow, man. Are you right now in Florida visiting? How'd you find us? That's wild. Well, welcome, man. Kenya, welcome, Orlando, Florida, right in our backyard. My office is right in Metro West, right behind Universal Studios. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, my goal is to ensure you get all the information you need so you're prepared and you are, prepared to make the right decisions when buying a home. But more importantly, you avoid the big costly mistakes we see people make. This is the master class we're teaching. Johnny, welcome from Claremont. Chanel, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Chanel, from Orlando. Looking to buy your first home. Well, you made it to the right class. I know that after today's class, you're going to be confident on how to make that happen, okay? So thank you so much for joining and introducing yourselves. Delenia, welcome to today's class. Really appreciate you joining us. Could you let us know, Delenia, are you a first-time home buyer? Do you already own the home? What side of town are you on? Today's class is going to be super, super interactive, okay? So thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate that. We're going to be getting started here right a little after 7 because I am getting tons of text messages that people are still trying to get home from work, as you could imagine, okay? Kissimmee, Dave. Welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate the effort you guys are looking to do. Delenia, looking to buy an investment home? Awesome. We're going to have some great content today on all sorts of mortgage products. Again, mistakes. We're going to be talking about credit. We're going to be talking about some of the biggest decisions during the process that people don't realize is really the difference maker on, one, do you actually buy the home? But two, does it cost you thousands of dollars, man? I am very analytical. I will tell you guys that. Full of energy, but it'll be worth it. Stick with me. And more importantly, I'm going to stay all the way till you guys stop asking me questions. So if we're here till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I will be here, okay? 10, stuck. I'm at the office by myself. But more importantly, I promise you I will be done with the presentation in under an hour. Because if I'm not, my co-host Fernie, she ain't a fan if I go over an hour, okay? She gets on top of me. With that being said, make sure you welcome and say hello to my co-host Fernanda. She's going to go ahead and be keeping track of everything, making sure you guys get everything you need. So all of that. Kenya, that's exactly what we're going to be answering. That is one of the biggest questions we're going to be answering are the different programs that can assist you as a first-time home buyer. Because here in Florida, the amount of programs that exist is insane, but there is absolutely a point in this where we will get to that. So we're going to give it about 2 more minutes, guys. Just 2 more minutes because I got a bunch of text messages. Literally people saying, I'm still driving home. I don't want to miss the webinar. I had a couple people say, oh, no, I got caught into work. Can you send me the recording? So we are going to be recording it as well. So that way If you can't stay throughout the whole thing, or more importantly, I talk fast, you miss something, you can go ahead and rewatch it, okay? But here's what I ask of you guys. Don't be shy. Ask questions. Don't be shy. Drop all your questions in there. We're going to get to them all. Maybe if I miss it up front, Fernanda, my co-host, she's going to make sure she saves it so that way we get to it, okay? JH, initials, welcome. Let us know where you're from, JH. Are you a first-time home buyer or looking to do some investment properties? Let us know, man. Fernie, are you ready in about 1 minute? I hope so, because I am ready to go. Yes, ma'am. Let's get this going then. We're going to get class started right away. Because if not, I'll go over that 8 o'clock hour if I don't get started right away. And like I said, Fernanda don't
Recording
play.
in progress.
She does not want to make, she wants to make sure we don't miss that. But let's get started, guys. So here's what I need. I need your guys' favor, okay? The favor I need is that I need this to be interactive, okay? I need you to go ahead and use that chat box the whole way. If questions are coming up in the middle of it, just drop them. I promise you, if I don't answer it because I'm in the middle of speaking, Fernanda, my co-host, is going to go ahead and get to it, save it, so we can get to it after the presentation. Worst case scenario. However, I want to be clear. There are some questions that might be a little private, right? Maybe you ask them and I can't get into too many details. Well, the other thing we're going to be doing is we offer a free consultation, one-on-one consultation. So Fernanda's also going to start dropping a booking link. So if you can't stay, if you have a personal question, that you just want to get more details, we do an absolutely free consultation. So Fernanda's already dropping that booking link so you can feel comfortable booking that appointment at any point and get that going. All right? So stack up those Q&As. We're ready to go. Let's get this going. All right, first thing I need from everyone. Tell me how you're feeling about home buying. Oh, awesome, Lewis. I'm glad you got invited. How are you guys feeling about the home buying process? Are you feeling concerned? Are you feeling stressed out? Intimidated? Anxious? Uncertain? Let me know in the chat box. Are you feeling other things throughout this process? Like I said, let me know how you're feeling about this home buying process. Because guess what? The goal here is that by the end of this presentation, you don't feel that way anymore. You're going to be confident throughout the whole thing. Okay? Intimidated. Yeah, Kenya, that's a big one. I think a lot of people feel that way. Excited but nervous. Okay? Concerned about the price of the house and the monthly payments. Lewis, there's a whole slide that I talk about on how we address that here and how we help you succeed. So make sure you stick around throughout the whole thing so I can show you how we're going to be able to help answer that, okay? But absolutely. So what's the goal? The goal is to empower you with knowledge, right? Because here's the thing. We all have information. We have access to tons of information. We can go on Google. We can ask ChatGPT. We can ask all these AIs and search engines. But here's what they don't do. They give us information, but they don't really tell us how to apply that information. So it doesn't give us the confidence we need to feel good. So the goal is to empower you with knowledge. My goal is to make sure you at least learn one new thing. I'm confident you're going to do that. So I'm going to have another challenge for you guys. Okay? Anytime you learn something new, anytime you learn something you didn't know, please do me a favor and drop the word ACE in the chat box. ACE. ACE, okay? Can you guys do that now? Can you go ahead and drop the ACE for me now so I know you're keeping up? There we go. Awesome. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Welcome, Sunny. Welcome, Elena, to our master home class, home buyer class, master class. I'm not even sure what I'm saying anymore, but we're going to be learning a lot. Awesome. David, thank you. Zoom user, I know you probably didn't know, but if you could help me out, Zoom user, I don't want to call you Zoom user the whole thing. Could you drop your name? And my co-host Fernanda's going to fix your name for us so I know how to refer to you. Because I want to make sure I answer all your questions. Jeff, awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your participation. So that's what we're going to do. Why are we dropping ACE? Well, ACE is the name of the company. I am the owner, and it stands for Action, Commitment, Excellence. And I am confident that throughout this webinar, you're going to see why I named it that, because That's what it stands for. That's exactly how we do business every single day. As I mentioned, my name's Elgin Perez. Just so you guys know, it's okay if you butcher my name. Everyone that calls in does it. Ellen, Eileen, Elaine, Elspeth, Edward. Those are all the ones my team thought were funny, but I've gotten it all. Alien even. But I chose to open up Ace Lending Group as a mortgage broker. And you'll notice that I'm going to be very particular about some of the words I choose because I'm here to give you knowledge. So I chose to open up a brokerage, not a bank, not a lender. And we'll get into the why. And I did this back on March 2020 during the pandemic. So why did I choose to do a mortgage broker? Well, the first thing you got to understand, it's one of the biggest decisions you should be making when buying a home loan isn't necessarily just applying for a home loan, but it's understanding who, what, and where you're applying with. What do I mean by that? Well, a bank, a mortgage lender, and a mortgage broker are three completely different entities that play by three different completely rules. And just based on that information alone, it could cost you thousands of dollars or save you thousands of dollars. Even worse, it could be the reason why you get approved or declined. It could be how you end up paying a higher or lower interest rate or more or less closing costs. Or if you're a first-time home buyer, which I saw quite a few in here are first-time home buyers, it could be the reason why you do or don't get access to some of those down payment assistance. Even though you are eligible and qualified, they might tell you no. So what do I mean by all this stuff? Well, let's start out with what it means. We'll start out with what is a bank. If I can use my clicker right today, there we go. What is a bank? Well, think of a bank, not think of a bank. You know a bank. A bank's going to be those things like a Wells Fargo, a Chase, a Bank of America, your credit unions. What makes them a bank, right? The fact that they offer all products. What do I mean by that? Well, not only do they offer mortgages, but they also offer credit cards, auto loans, checking, saving accounts. The fact that they offer all this, right, makes them a bank. It doesn't make them a lender. It doesn't make them a broker. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means they're well-reputable names a lot of times, not always, and even when they're well-reputable, we know some of them have not the greatest reputations, but that's neither here or there. A little bias. But more importantly for you, as a client, it means that they can have a lot of additional criteria they're not required because guess what? They sell all these other products. Believe it or not, a checking and a savings account is a product that they're selling that they make money on. The reason that's important is I'll give you a great example of the FHA loan. Did you know the FHA loan minimum credit requirement is only 500? Let me repeat myself. The minimum credit score for an FHA loan is only a 500 credit score. Yeah, not a 600, not a 700, 500. Most people don't know that. Why? Because when you apply at a bank can go ahead and pick its own little box. I'm not really good at these boxes. That's more like a diamond. But the point is they get to go ahead and make these rules, and they can say, yeah, we're going to offer the FHA loan, but we don't want to offer it to anyone unless they have at least a 640 credit score or a 660 credit score. Why? Because, well, we don't want to take that much risk because we have all these other products we're making money on anyways. But we do want to say that we offer a mortgage because, well, we're a bank. We should do that. That's a bank. That's one of the ways they can be limited. The other way is when you apply there, they can only offer you the interest rate they're offering you at that time with the closing costs that they're offering you at that time, right? Ooh, yes. Johnny and Jeff, I got a couple aces already early in the game. I told you guys, I get excited easily. I have too much fun doing this. So let's get into it. What's a lender? Well, a lender, similar to a bank, meaning they're typically have big names. Big one's going to be Rocket Mortgage, aka Quicken Loans. Most of us have heard of them because they spend hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars literally on advertising. They're big and reputable a lot of times, not always. But the biggest difference is a mortgage lender can only offer mortgages. So personally, I do like lenders more than banks when it comes to applying for a home loan. The fact that they offer mortgages only means that they're incentivized. They have an incentive to, guess what? Do more mortgages. Because if they don't, they're not making money. They're not lending mortgage deals. They're not profitable, right? Now, here's the thing. They still have to monitor their risk profile. meaning they still have to monitor, what deals they do and don't. But it does mean that their box it's bigger than the bank's little box. More offerings, more likely you'll get a yes, but you are still stuck to a box. You are still stuck to what they will be able to say yes or no to. And more importantly, again, you can only get the rates that they're offering and the deal that they're offering at the time. Okay? So very, very important. So that means if they don't work with down payment assistance programs, or they just don't offer it, or maybe they don't meet some of the criterias. I'll give you a quick example. In the state of Florida, to be able to offer some of the down payment assistance programs, the person you are working with, meaning the loan officer, has to live in Florida, has to work in Florida, has to have an office in Florida. So if you're calling one of these big banks and they have a call center, I don't know, in like Detroit or in California, meaning their call center is not in Florida, they cannot offer you the products that are here in Florida sometimes. Because literally it's a requirement that you have to be licensed from Florida. So that's even just some of the ways that this can be unique. Ooh, Lewis, thank you for that ace. Oh, Jeff, I got double aces. More aces from Jeff. I'm loving it. We're going to have blast. So what's a broker? A broker is what we are and what I chose to open. Why a brokerage? Because we're independent. I don't work for any of the banks or lenders. I'm a middleman. Okay, so what that means is you apply with us. We get to do one credit pool. And with that one credit pool, I get to shop over 100 different banks and lenders and investors nationwide. Not only to see whose box you might fit in without having your credit ran over and over just a one time, but more importantly, once I find out, oh, look, you got 5 banks that will approve you. Cool. Who's going to give you the lowest closing cost? Who's going to give you the lowest rate? And who's going to go ahead and actually also allow us to match that with any of the down payment assistance programs if you're a first-time home buyer that you qualify for. So it gives us not a box, but unlimited options. It gives us the most flexibility. That's why I chose a brokerage. Okay, I tell everyone, think of us like the Expedia of mortgages or the Kayak of mortgages. Unlimited, one brokerage, unlimited solutions, the most flexibility. If we don't offer it and someone else offers it, 99% of the time, we can call them and guess what? Set up a brokerage relationship with them. And here's the coolest part. Typically, I say typically because there are exceptions, who pays us 99% of the time is the bank. No different than if I worked there. Because guess what? If I work for the bank or the lender, the way they typically pay is that they have to pay me a salary, they have to provide me my equipment, they have to go ahead and provide health insurance, and a lot of times, guess what? They pay commissions on these mortgage deals. As an independent broker, they don't have to give me any of that. All they have to do is provide me a commission. So just like when you go on Expedia.com or Kayak.com versus, let's say you're booking a hotel and you could have gone to Hilton.com or Marriott.com, a lot of times, right, like 99% of the time, when you go to the third-party website, you get a cheaper room, a cheaper deal. And here's the thing, they're still getting paid a commission. Same thing with us, because they don't employ us, so we get wholesale pricing, that's what it's called. So we get better pricing applying through us than if you do directly with them. That's what a brokerage is. That's the difference. So that's the first thing you should be deciding is, what type of entity should you be applying with? Just this alone, I promise you, will save you thousands of dollars and headaches and time. Well, let's keep it going. So where do you begin? Where should you begin? And remember, guys, drop your questions. I got a bunch of aces, Delenia, Kenya, more Jeff, more Lewis. But we're taking questions, okay? All your questions as they come up, don't be shy. Fernanda, my co-host, she's going to save them if I miss them. And again, if you have something personal or if you have to leave early, feel free to book that one-to-one that she's going to be dropping the link so we can go ahead and have those consultations, okay? I really want to get to know you guys. I want to know why you're here and how we can help you meet your goal of being a homeowner. Because I'm confident we can do it. A little water, much talking. So let's keep going. So where should you begin? You should understand this basic concept that I say eligibility versus qualification. This is so important. Eligibility means, okay, you meet the criteria to apply. Hear me very carefully, because again, these are the mistakes that we see people make, where it's costing them thousands of dollars. It's costing them the home entirely. It's costing them their deposit, the home, and now they can't buy for a while. Eligibility means the ability to apply for it. It means you met the criteria to apply. However, that is very different than qualification. Qualification means you have applied and you have qualified. Two different things. Question. Important one, I just remembered. Have any of you seen, right? Have any of you seen where a commercial or an advertising says, get approved for a home loan in 10 minutes? Any of you? I know I have. Woohoo! I've seen those commercials. Anyone else? Right? Well, here's the thing. Those 10-minute pre-approvals, that's based off eligibility. So I'm going to give you something that happened not that long ago. A client applied through one of these lenders, and they got a pre-approval letter, boom, in 10 minutes. They wanted to get a second opinion. I told them that I needed all their documentation. They told me, no thank you, because I already have all my pre-approval, and they went back to that other lender. They went, they found, they saw the home, they found the home, they submitted a contract, and they got their offer accepted. After that, they called that lender, they submitted the contract, and not even 2 days later, that lender said, hey, we need all your documentation. So they're like, of course, because, well, I'm under contract. I understand now. And not even a little bit later, everything changed. Their down payment, their closing costs, their interest rate, everything. What happened? Well, unfortunately, because they were working with a computer, they blamed the client, when I don't think it's the client's fault. I think they should have just done their due diligence. But again, they want to spit out these letters. The client typed in that they make not $40,000 a year, but they actually put an extra zero, and they put that they make $40,000 a month. Typo. So the computer automatically gave an approval because, well, guess what? They make $40,000 a month. Yeah, you can afford a $300,000 home. No problem. Well, based off the eligibility, here you go. Here's your approval letter. Everything changed on them. So that's what I mean with some of these things. Like, there is a big difference. That's just an easy example, but we'll really get into this because it's going to make a big difference. Lewis, I'm going to answer that question. That's a great question. Like I said, have a whole slide on that, but we're going to save that. Fernie, make sure you save that question from Lewis, because I want to make sure that I don't miss it, especially when we get into that slide. All right? So know your numbers, guys. This is the first thing you should really know. You should really understand your credit score, which I'm going to help you with. My next slide is awesome. I am confident that I'm going to get an ace out of all of you. Okay? Unless you're stingy with your ace. I hope you're not. But I'm going to get an ace out of all of you, which is going to be your credit score. But you should really also know your monthly income versus your expenses. And I tell people, you should know your monthly income versus your expenses in two ways. Okay? What do I mean in two ways? Well, you should understand it the way we, the bank, the lenders, the mortgage brokerages, do the math, which we look at your gross income monthly versus your minimum monthly payments on your credit. Meaning that if it's not on your credit, for the most part, we don't count it against you. So stuff like water, utilities, cell phone bills, those items we're not going to count against your monthly expenses, okay? But then more importantly, you should actually know what you can actually budget yourselves. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? Well, on your own, you should be able to figure out what you have actually going out. Because guess what? We're not taking into consideration if you have childcare that's super expensive, private school, or any other personal big expenses against you. And that could really have a big effect on, well, what you want to afford. Only because we say you can afford $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 doesn't really mean you might like that payment. Lewis earlier mentioned he's concerned about the numbers. That's a great point, Lewis. So this is so important that you get that, okay? So know your numbers. But let's talk about credit score. Okay, I'm guessing we all, not all, but for the most part, most of us have learned that we have 3 different credit scores. And we know those as the Experian credit score, the Equifax credit score, and the TransUnion credit score. But how many of you knew that you actually have like 30 credit scores? Yeah, let me repeat that. How many of you knew that you had 30 different credit scores? Any of you? That's right. Give me those aces. Yeah, 30. So let me tell you what I mean by this. So you're going to see here that each credit score, so Experian, as I follow my mouse, has FICO score 9, 8. Then you got Auto FICO score 982. And then you have a bunch for credit cards. And then guess what? We finally get to mortgage lending. For mortgage, you got FICO score 2, 5, and 4, depending on what bureau. Like, that's wild. So I want to first let you guys know that, yes, this is crazy. Yes, this could be frustrating. I completely get it. And no one teaches this stuff. And it's even more frustrating. They definitely don't teach it in school because, well, they don't teach finances or anything that's truly applicable. Different subject. Let me not get off subject because I'll quickly get political on school stuff. But here, why is it so different? Well, the FICO system has created different algorithms based on what you're applying for. So whether you're applying for a home loan, whether you're applying for an auto loan, or you're applying for a credit card. So how do you know what you're looking at? Well, if you're looking at your credit score online, if you're looking at your credit score anywhere like that on the website, an app, what you should do is you should first look at the little fine print under the score, and you should see if it's even a FICO score. It could be a Vantage score, which is a whole other ballgame. We're not going to get into that. Okay? And then you should see if it's Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. And then you should see which one it is. Does it say FICO score 9, 8? Which one? Right? That's what you should do so you know which one you're looking at. I tell people, think of it like school when you had your grades. You had your regular GPA, but then you had your weighted GPA. And all of a sudden you can get, you can go from a 4.0 to get to like a 4.5, but maybe it was less, maybe it was higher, depending on the weighting. Same concept, same nonsense, except that it's for all this. Okay? I knew I was going to get a couple aces. I do want to welcome to, I'm going to call them iPhone 5. iPhone 5, welcome to the Zoom meeting. Thank you for joining. If you could do me a favor, very interactive class, could you drop your name so we can, so I don't call you iPhone 5? I would appreciate it. Thank you. And then my co-host, Fernanda, she's going to update your name, okay? That way we can make sure we address you and we answer all your questions. All right? So how do you find out what scores you should get? You're probably all wondering, how do I get access to this, Elgin? How do I know this? So I'm going to answer that. We're going to go ahead and say, well, first of all, how do you get access to all of this? There's a website. I don't get paid, okay, from this website, but the website is called myfico.com. myfico.com. They will charge you. I make nothing from it, but you can literally get all these scores. For mortgages, these are the scores we use, and the way it works is that we just use what we literally call the middle score. Thank you, Kenya, for sharing that website. The middle score. So what do I mean by the middle score? So it doesn't matter which score is which, it's whatever's in the middle. So I'll use an extreme example. If one bureau says you're 600, the other one says you're 700, and the other one says you're 800, we're going to use the 700 because that's the middle score. So it doesn't matter if it's Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, in whatever order they come in, 600, 700, 800, whichever's the middle one, that's the one that the mortgage company is going to use for the purposes of eligibility and qualification. Okay? Just so you're aware on that, that's how we're going to make that happen. Now, here's where I really want to teach you. Why is this so important? Okay? Because I cannot get off this topic until I give you guys this truth on why you have to know this. Because just like you don't know this, most people you're talking to on the financial side or on the sales side of the business don't know this either. Have any of you ever gone to go buy a car and you go to the dealership and they pull your credit, and let's say they pull your credit and they're like, okay, you're a 680 credit score. And then you're like, yeah, but I want to go shop around. So then they tell you this big story on like if you get your credit pulled anymore, your credit's going to drop 30, 40 points, right? Any of you do that? And then what happens? Then you still leave because, well, you want to shop around. And then you go to the next car dealership and you want to shop, so you apply again. And all of a sudden, this new car dealership tells you, hey, your credit score is only a 640. And you're like, oh my God, they weren't lying to me. It's true, my credit dropped 40 points. Well, let me tell you a secret. Your credit did not drop 40 points. What happened is you went to the one car dealership and they maybe pulled Experian FICO score 9. And then you went to the next car dealership and they pulled TransUnion FICO score 8. And it was always 40 points difference, but neither dealership are talking to each other. Neither person that you're talking to at either dealership even understand this that I'm explaining to you. So they can't even guide you. They're not actually scamming you. They just don't know any better. So by pure ignorance, they tell you, oh yeah, you better not keep going and pulling your credit because it's going to be even worse. And guess what? Your deal's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And now you feel like, oh, I better not keep shopping. I just better take this deal before anyone pulls my credit. But if you knew this, you could just go to myfico.com, pay the $80. That's going to save you literally thousands of dollars because you're going to be like, hey, no, don't use that credit score. Use this one. Because, well, I can see that you could use this one for auto lending and tell them exactly how to do their job and get yourself the best deal. Crazy, right? That itself, I'm happy you guys made it to class because I know that one tip is going to save one of you hundreds of thousands of dollars one day. So what's next? Well, applying properly and gathering the right documentations could be the difference between getting approved and not approved. The ability to show documentation could be the difference between being able to get approved or not approved. Couple basic things. I know this one sounds silly. Have an ID that is not expired, but more importantly, when applying for the loan, make sure that the way you apply your name matches the ID. So if you have 42 last names like I do, because I'm from a Latin culture, make sure that you apply with all of those. If you have a middle initial, full middle name, apply with that. If you have any of that. Believe it or not, we see files get declined because, well, someone decided to shorten the name. It pulls a fraud alert, and now we have to get that cleared, and it won't get approved until that's cleared. It can delay the whole process. If you're employed, have your recent pay stubs. Have your last 2 years of work history. Now, if you're not working because you're retired, pensions, other stuff, this doesn't apply to you. But I do want to touch base on 2 years of work history because there is a lot of mistakes people make here. 2 years of work history literally does not mean 2 years of work history at the same place. It's okay if you have changed jobs, especially if there's good reasons behind it. Understanding the story is important, which is why not applying just online, but actually speaking to someone is a big deal. If you had a job gap, let's say you're a mom and you had to go ahead and take 3 years off working to raise a child. First of all, I want to first say I don't actually consider that as time off. I also want to say that's way more work than actually working. Nah, but it just is, right? But that could hinder you. Well, guess what? The cool thing is if you had a job prior to that 3-year job gap, as long as you have the documentation showing, oh yeah, I worked at this place for 3 years, then I took 3 years off, and now I'm back to work only 7 months, boom, deal. We just got to document it all. Tell the story. Write a letter. We can do that. Ace, ace, ace. That's right, bunch of aces. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but it involves a conversation. If you're retired, pension, Social Security, all that works as income as well. Also, did you know that you can have up to 4 people, let me say again, you can have up to 4 people on a loan application for a mortgage? We do deals literally, mom, dad, kids. If everyone's working, and everyone's going to live in there, yeah. Let's go ahead and make sure we give you the best chances of getting approved. Okay, if you're self-employed, we can look at bank statements, we can look at tax returns, a lot of creative ways, but key here is documentation. You can't just tell me I make this and not have any proof. Those loans were known as ninja loans no longer exist when it comes to buying primary homes. Creatively enough, on the investment side of deals, there are different ways to do it with no income from your actual personal income, but just generating income from the actual property. I know, Delania, you were talking about looking into investment properties. There are ways there. So what are we learning from here? Well, we learned that we shouldn't get just pre-qualified. You should get fully pre-approved. Because if you just get pre-qualified, it could cost you thousands of dollars afterwards because the whole deal can change on you. And we see it happen all the time. I literally, another example, Friday had a lady call me. She sold her home in Pennsylvania. Okay, listen to this, guys. Sold her home in Pennsylvania, closed on her home in Pennsylvania on last Wednesday. Came down on Friday because she thought she was going to be closing on her home here on Friday morning. The bank stops picking up her phone calls. Understand, she's been under contract to buy this home for 2 months. Calls crying because she's in a hotel with her 2 daughters, a moving truck on the way, and has no idea what to do because the bank, yes, a bank, is not any longer picking up her phone calls because they've screwed up and dropped the ball. Because she thought, oh, I'll qualify easily for a home. A lot of things have changed. I won't get into those details. But unfortunately, she didn't qualify easily for the home based on that. Called us on Friday. We problem solved it. Literally by the end of Friday, we had the whole deal into underwriting. And by Monday, we already have the loan approved. We're waiting on one item that we have requested. And she should be closing this Friday already. Why? Because we told her the documentation that was really needed. She kept turning in stuff that meant nothing, quite frankly. And guess what? Someone jumped on the phone with her. So why is that important? Well, you need to work with a mortgage professional, not a website. Little bias, there. But I know it's true because I literally see the difference every day, all day. Not just the difference on getting approved, but also the difference of someone taking the time to explain to you the different loan programs, right? Because the different loan programs can be the difference on paying thousands of dollars more. And you need someone that actually comprehends it. You need a team that's going to take the time to do it. No different than you guys took the time tonight on a Wednesday night to be on here on a webinar. You could be doing a lot better things than hanging out with me online. But guess what? I'm also here at the office at 7:30 at night instead of being at home hanging out. Where, guess what? If you go to a bank, they close at, 4 or 5 p.m.? Some of them closing the doors. They don't want to even take appointments after 3:30 because they want to make sure they shut down at 4. Yeah, that's what happens, guys. Woo, I'll take that compliment, Jeff. Don't think I didn't notice. So you got to understand all your options. We're going to get into the next half because I got to speed up. Because I know Fernanda's going to get upset at me if I take too long. But understanding your options is absolutely key. And not one size fits all for loans. So you'll notice that I keep saying every mortgage ain't the same. Okay? So that's going to be important. That's going to be on the second half. We're almost going to get started there. But in the meanwhile, while you're doing all this, don't make any major moves. Don't change your jobs. Don't buy your car, truck, vehicle. Don't go opening up new credit cards. I'm laughing at Jeff's comment. You all right? Don't do any of this stuff, right? Don't buy furniture till after you buy the home. If you are going to get a new job, look, sometimes it makes sense. Give us a call. Talk to us. Book that one-to-one consultation I keep telling you guys about. It's 100% free. Fernie, drop those links, please. And guys, don't co-sign for people if you can avoid it. And don't use these affirmed buy now, pay later apps, okay? Don't use any of those. So let's keep it going. On the second half, right before we get to it, here's a silly giveaway. If they don't pick up your phone calls, if they don't answer your questions, if they dodge your questions, if they make you feel like, oh, that's not that important, you're working with the wrong freaking person. I don't care if they're on the mortgage side, on the real estate side, if they won't take the time to properly consider that if you ask the question, whether the question is important or not important, it's not what's important. What's important is that you asked it, and therefore it means to me that it's important to you. I'll give you guys a great example. For those of you married, can you imagine your spouse asking you a question that is important to them, and you just like, yeah, ain't answering that? For those of you that enjoy being married a long time and happy, you can imagine that won't go over well. Well, yeah, think of it that way. I think that's also a great way to do it, okay? So let's get to the second half that's super, super important so we can get you guys done by 8 and answer a bunch of questions. I know, Lewis. It's true, though. I see it happen. I told you, the bank ain't even picking up the phones for that poor lady. By the way, She's still calling them just to see if they'll pick up, and they haven't. It's over a week later, and we're basically done. And I confidently know we'll be closing on Friday. But here's what you should know. The word home loan and mortgage. Home loan and mortgage. Think of this word, and this is very important, think of this word as a general word for funding for a home. Why should you think of it that way? Well, because the word home loan or mortgage does not specify the terms. It does not specify your eligibility. It does not specify how much down payment. It doesn't specify your interest rate. It doesn't specify, is it 15 years? Is it 30 years? It doesn't specify, hey, does that payment include taxes or insurance? It specifies as nothing. Kind of like the word vehicle or car. Well, that tells me nothing. Hey, I drive a vehicle to work. Well, what's that mean? Well, it probably means it has wheels, a steering wheel, and some type of engine. Maybe not an engine on these electrical cars. I don't think those have engines. I don't actually know. Almost off topic. But the point being is understand that that's general. What you should really be focused on when someone says you're approved, okay? When someone says you're approved, what you should really be focused on is the word loan program or loan product. Because this is what's going to tell you your terms. For example, the word FHA loan, conventional loan, USDA loan, VA loan. Then there's a whole suite that we call the non-QM family that does all sorts of crazy stuff. That's going to tell you, is it 30 years, 40 years, 15 years? Does it include taxes or insurance? Is it fixed? Is it variable? Big difference. Big difference. So how do you know what home loan program you qualify for? Well, the reality is that you as a client aren't really going to know. But what allows us to know is your eligibility. Are you using the home, your occupancy? Is it going to be your primary home, your second home, like a vacation home? Or is it an investment property? Are you going to rent it out? What's your citizenship status? Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you here on a work visa? Are you here on DACA program? Are you here on an H-1B visa? Are you just here visiting and you actually live in a whole other country, so you're considered a foreign investor? How big's your household? What's your credit score? Credit score helps us determine what loan programs you can be eligible for and possibly apply for. As I mentioned, FHA goes down as low as 500. What's your income? Interesting enough, what's your income is also different than your total household income. There are programs, especially on the down payment assistance side of things. I know, Louis, you were asking a little bit about this, that they say, hey, I know that only you're applying, and for the purposes of the mortgage, it's your income. But for the purposes of the down payment assistance, which is a whole separate qualification and application, which, by the way, my team does everything for you. But for that purpose, guess what? We look at household income. So if you have a spouse, you have kids, and they work, their income counts against that. So maybe you don't make enough to go over that total income qualification. But when we combine it all, then it does go over and no longer eligible. How do I know this? We see people do it all the time. We see people, okay, another story about a month ago, had a client apply for a down payment assistance program that they were going to get $40,000, quotation marks, because, first of all, the bank didn't help them do the application. They had to fill it out themselves, which is awful because they made mistakes on it. But two, the program was off household income. So then literally 2 weeks before closing on their home, they find out they're no longer going to get the 40 grand. By the way, they went from getting 40 grand to getting zero from that bank and that program because they looked at the wrong everything, because it's not their job. I tell everyone, look, it's not your job necessarily to know. Sure, should you be educated? Should you just have this knowledge? Absolutely. Like I said, the biggest takeaway, I am confident that it's who you work with, what they know, and are they actually going to help you? Do they actually give a crap? And then are they going to walk you through and actually show you everything you're eligible for? So you can still make the decision and you're still in the driver's seat, but you're in the driver's seat with someone that's guiding you correctly versus keeping things away from you or not helping you the right way and leading you to success. So these things, again, costing people thousands of dollars all the time. By the way, short story on that is they called us, which is how I know about it. We found a different program. We weren't quite able to get them the 20. We were able to get them around 10 because that's what they, or the 40, I mean. We were able to get them 10. We were able to work a couple other things and make the deal work for them. So they're still very happy. They still own the home. So that is important. So how do you know what type of program is right for you? There is no right program for one person. Sometimes the right program is just the one you qualify for. If you only qualify for one program, well, it doesn't matter that there's 100 different loan programs. Here's the one that you qualify for. Sometimes you qualify for 3 different programs. Sometimes you qualify for 6. And in those instances, what's the right program for you? Let's talk about it. Let's put side-by-side numbers. Let's do it. Okay? Also, remember, you can book a one-to-one to really figure this out and dial this in to have an actual conversation, okay? But again, as I mentioned, some of these programs are conventional, FHA, VA, non-QM. And then we have a whole series that we call DPA, which stands for Down Payment Assistance. So again, the down payment assistance stuff, it's important that you know that you are able to pair certain down payment assistance programs with certain loan programs. They cannot be paired with every program. Also, you can only ever pair one down payment assistance program at a time. You cannot combine 20 of them. This isn't like one of those Kohl's places where you could just do Groupon upon Groupon and coupon upon coupon. And then the other thing is that it's not just are you eligible, do you actually qualify, which I can't stress enough. I really can't. So here's what I want to do for a moment, because I know a lot of you are like, why does this matter so much? How does this cost me thousands of dollars? So I have a real example of a client we helped recently, and these are what the numbers look like for them, okay? They had options. They had 2 options. We ended up showing them how to make their own third option. By the way, we were able to negotiate the deal, all right? I'm going to see here. Oh, I got something for Lewis. So we went to this. Oh, okay, Lewis. I want to go back to that question. Fernie, save that question from Lewis, okay? I don't want to forget that one. That's a good one. So let's jump into this. So they qualified for an FHA loan, and they also qualified for an FHA loan with Florida Assist of $10,000, okay? Meaning that they got $10,000 in assistance from the state of Florida. If you guys are noticing here, I've been very particular about my words. Am I saying free money? Am I saying they got $10,000 grant? No, I'm using the word assistance, and you'll see what I mean by it in just a moment. So on this column, they have to put the 3.5% down that FHA requires, which is $12,250, 3.5% by 350 is that, 30 years fixed, and the interest rate they were offered was 6.25. That's where we were able to find them, okay? Which I'm confident for that time, we crushed any other quote that was out there. But guess what? Now they need the $12,250 plus in the state of Florida. If you don't know how to negotiate or you don't know what you're doing or you don't have the right team, you also got to pay all your closing costs. So in their scenario, they really needed $25,670. Woo, buddy, that's a lot of money. And then their payment was going to be $26.79. Now, you'll notice 2 payments. This first payment, $21.16, that's the payment of just principal and interest. But once you add the taxes, the insurance, and everything, it came out to $26.79. By the way, I see a lot of places that will quote this number too low. Don't have time to get into that. I literally have 15 minutes to fly through the rest of this stuff. So with the Florida down payment assistance of $10K, they got, again, $350, but now they only have to put down $2,250 because Florida is covering $10K. However, the interest rate went up to 7.25, and the $10,000 is being financed as a second loan at 0% interest. Listen, you give me $10K at no interest, not a bad deal, right? I'm taking that. However, the 7.25, here's the thing. That 7.25, they can always refinance in the future and drop it down. So keep that in mind. So as we go down, their payment went from $26.79 to $29.35, okay? And now, they, instead of needing $25,000, they only needed $15,670. $10K in savings, right? Right. But in their case, they still didn't have the $15,000, $16K needed. So what did we do? One, they interviewed great agents. They actually attended this webinar as well, just so you know. So they went ahead and did that. And they knew that they needed to interview a great agent, a great mortgage company or brokerage. So they chose us. And we worked together with their agent to not just get them the take-in assistance, but also get them seller credit in $10,000. Meaning that, yes, they took the $2,935 payment for now, but they were able to get into that same home that they thought they were never going to be able to buy for $25K out of pocket, because that's what every other bank and lender kept telling them they needed, where they got into the home with only $5,600 out of pocket. A $20,000 savings today. And they didn't look at the 30 years that they're going to pay that interest on, because guess what? They know they're going to refinance. By the way, we have a whole game plan for them, just like we had one on them buying them. We have a whole game plan on how within the next 2-3 years, they're going to lower this payment. All right? And we're going to follow up, and as long as they listen, and they're going to be successful with this. So it makes a big difference. That's how you can save thousands of dollars. I mean, $20K in savings today, sign me up. All right? So how much down payment do you need? Well, that's a very loaded question. Louis, you were asking what down payment assistance programs exist. We're getting there. I know I keep saying that, but we are. But here's what you're going to take away from this. The answer is endless. Because it comes down to eligibility. Not only are there several different loan programs that have their own requirements. So again, like FHA requiring 3.5% down, but then do you get a down payment assistance to cover that for you, or a grant to cover that for you? But then who, what, when, and where is doing that? What do I mean by that? Well, depending on eligibility, so again, a lot of them do require you're a first-time home buyer. Some of them have credit score. Let me be clear. All of them have credit score requirements. Some of them are hyper-local. So we got to have a conversation, all right? Where are you going to be buying? Are you buying here in Orange County? Are you buying in Lake County, Osceola County? Are you buying in a specific city? Some of these programs are hyper-local, okay? What's your household income? Every county has a program here in Florida. The state of Florida has its own programs, okay? Guess who else has programs? Banks and lenders offer their own programs. And this is just some of them. There are so many to list that I can't. I literally would be here. I would probably tell you a whole day just talking about each one. So I can't. I will tell you we can handle it and answer your questions very exact by, I'm going to say, booking that one-to-one. But I'm going to give you an example of an Orange County program that I sometimes tell people, if it's too good to be true, sometimes it is. Okay? Orange County today has money available to give you up to $70,000 towards the purchase of a home. Did you guys know that? Did you know you could go ahead and get $70,000 from Orange County for the purchase of a home? Ace, 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 right? Sounds awesome. A bunch of aces. Well, to get that money, did you know you have to make less than $33,000 a year? Did you know you need at least a 640 credit score? And by the way, I'm not saying you have to make, your household has to make less than $33,000 a year. What in the world are you buying in Central Florida making $33,000 a year? You ain't even going to get qualified for like $100K, depending on what's on your credit. And what are you going to do? So it's like the county, and I don't know if it's true, but I sometimes feel like some of these programs, it's institutions saying, yeah, we offer it. So they can say that they're helping, and they can say that they're advertising it, and they can say, yeah, we got something to help you with, right? And then like no one qualifies. And I'm sure someone's taking advantage of it. I'm not saying someone hasn't. But the niche to be eligible for that, it's so hard to actually qualify for. So one of the other things that we do here is we focus on actual programs that you're actually going to get the money on time quickly. That's actually going to help you. And we complete all the paperwork for you, with you, so you don't make mistakes on it, because that could be the difference on it. Woo, buddy, that was a lot of information. And it is 7:50, and we are almost done, guys. I told you guys, less than an hour. How are you feeling? Tell me, are you less stressed? less concerned, less intimidated. Kenya, if you knew how tough Fernanda is on me if I went overtime or if I was getting close, man, I would not hear the end of it. All right? It would keep her up past her bedtime. We can't do that. We can't afford to keep Fernanda up past her bedtime. You need to get the beauty sleep, okay? Be fresh. Fresh brains. So we got a couple less intimidated. Delania, ready. Chanel, how are you feeling? Más estresado? No way, Luis. You just need to book a one-to-one, man. There's no way you're more stressed. Okay? Yolande, Milena, tell me, guys, how are you guys feeling after this? Did you pick up a lot? Did you learn a lot? Was it worth it to be here with me almost an hour? Because we're here to help. If you take anything away from this, is that my team and I are here to help. Okay? There's a couple things before we end this I need from all of you, so don't leave yet. Okay? Zoom user, don't leave yet. Don't leave. I promise. If you book the one-to-one, which I really know you should all book the one-to-one, it's free. What are you going to lose? 10, 15 minutes talking to me? Or my brother, because if both of us take the calls, just hang up on us. It's okay. We won't take it personally. But your job is when you get on that phone call, tell us what you really want. Tell us everything that's worrying you. Tell us your concerns. But more importantly, when we ask you questions, tell us the truth. Listen, if you got a bunch of money hidden in the mattress, that's okay. If you make money on site, that's okay. If there's issues on the credit, that's okay. Tell us. Because by us knowing the truth, we're going to be able to do something called creating a clear mortgage plan. What's a clear mortgage plan? That's where we're going to literally create, basically, your diet plan on how to become healthy for the purposes of getting approved for a mortgage. That's what a clear mortgage plan is. What's with your credit, your income, your debts. And listen, for some of you, maybe the plan is super simple and you're done in 30, 60 days. For others, it might be 6 months. And for others, it might be a year or two. I have a family I'll never forget. I actually just talked to them last week, and I'm talking to them again on Friday because we're doing a couple things. They bought a home from me 3 years ago. But prior to that, we were on a clear mortgage plan for 4 years. Just 1 year, one person lost a job, one spouse lost a job. The next year, their transmission broke, so the money they had saved up had to go to fix the car. Listen, life happens. Life happens. But you got to stay on task. You got to know what your goals are and stay focused and not get discouraged or dissuaded that, hey, I can't do this. You got to make it happen. Okay? We'll do our part if you do your part. So where are you? What's the right thing to do? Well, the very first thing I taught you was that you got to understand who you're applying with and who you're talking to. So picking the right institution and the right person and the right team to help you as a buyer is the number one thing you need to do. I, of course, am biased and say you should pick us, Ace Lending Group. We're going to help you. We're going to hold your hand. And guess what? It's all free. The way I get paid is when we close the deal, the mortgage company pays my team. They pay us, not you. Super easy. After you apply, guess what? We're doing a soft credit pool. It doesn't even count as an inquiry. But it's going to allow us to figure out where you're at today. Are you where you need to be to get what you want? Because you're going to tell us what you want. Is it even feasible? And if so, how do you get there? Is it worth the wait? What's that plan? Step by step, we're going to hold your hand and stick with you. Monthly, daily, weekly, whatever it takes. Okay? And that's what getting a clear mortgage plan does. Once you have your clear mortgage plan, you're going to start virtually looking. I didn't say in person. I said virtually. Why virtually? Well, because, it's a lot easier, right? Online, blah, blah. And you're going to send us homes that you're interested in based on what we've discussed on your clear mortgage plan. And guess what? Remember that estimate I sent with 3 different options? We're going to do the same thing for you. Lewis, that's what we're offering. We're going to run 1 million quotes if we have to until we find the right deal. with the different loan programs and the different assistances that you're eligible for. Not take any shortcuts. And we're going to do all that before you even look at the home. Guess what? Every other mortgage company doesn't even run anything for you until after you bring them a contract. So you have to guess. You got to guess what your payment is. You got to guess what your total out of pocket is. It's wild. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready. Now you finalize a pre-approval, which means you turn everything in and we run the credit. And now you have your agent picked out and you go look at homes until you find the home you want, and then you negotiate. And then we negotiate as hard as we humanly can to get you the very best deal, not leave any money on the table, okay? Zeros. Based on your goals until you're under contract. And then we're at the home stretch. That's a whole nother class. We ain't doing that class today. So I got 4 minutes and I can't teach that class. But that's literally the right order to do this. Unfortunately, where most people start is they start here in the middle. They start looking virtually. And then they'll jump into looking at homes in person. And then they've never done any of this other stuff. And then they just work with whoever picked up the phone. And they don't even know if they're any good. They have no idea. Just because they have a mortgage title or a realtor title or whatever title, they must know what they're doing. Listen, every industry in the world, who you work with matters. Attorneys, doctors. You're not going to go get a heart surgery from the guy that has never done heart surgery. You're going to get it from someone that does the most amount of heart surgeries possible every single day or weekly or whatever to ensure you have the most level of success. Same thing here. Get the person that understands this, does this every single day to ensure your level of success. So what's next? Book a one-to-one with my team and I, my brother Johnny. Because guess what? We want to make sure you're not stuck. We're making sure you're not stressed out. I want to make sure that you understand that we're not here to tell you no. We're here to tell you how. Repeat that. Not here to tell you no. Here to tell you how to buy a home. Okay? That's the goal. That is absolutely the goal. So we're going to jump into Q&As while we leave that the booking link up there. Fernanda, did I miss any questions? I think I might have missed a couple questions. Oh, here we go. What programs are they offering right now to first-time home buyers? All right, we'll start out with the very first question. Okay, that is a very great question. As I mentioned, there are so many different loan programs out there. There are a couple unique ones that they're offering right now in the state of Florida. For example, the state of Florida has one that's just called the Florida Assist, that they just give you $10,000 flat as a second loan with 0% interest, no payments, no attachments. Basically, do you meet the income limits? Do you go ahead and have the credit score limit requirements? And they'll give you that $10,000. And the only time you pay the money back is if you sell the home, you refinance the home, or if you rent the home out. Great, great program. There's another program right now that's very popular. They only have like $35 million left, which I know sounds like a lot of money. Money will be gone in like the next 30, 45 days, quite frankly, at $35 million. But it's called the Hometown Heroes Program. And what's interesting about the program this year is that they changed a couple of the criteria for eligibility. What they changed is before you had to be a doctor, a firefighter, blah, blah, a teacher. But guess what? If you worked at the hospital and you were the receptionist, you couldn't get the money. Or if you were the admin or the accounting person, you couldn't get the money. So what they did is they changed it that as long as you work for one of these facilities at the physical location in the state of Florida, you qualify. So if you work in HR for the school district at a school, or for a hospital at a hospital, not remote, to the actual location, now you're eligible, allowing a lot more people to qualify, and they will give up to 5% of the loan amount all the way up to 5%. So awesome program, and it can be combined with FHA, conventional, NVA loans, and I believe also USDA. Yeah, so that's awesome. I think we also had, I want to make sure I don't forget this one. All right, let's see here. So we went to the brand new community, and they said they would offer a 3.99 interest rate on their home if we buy now. It's a brand new community, and they never. Awesome. That's a great question. I think this was Lewis, right? Lewis, that you went to that community. So what they're doing, I can tell you exactly what they're doing. What they're doing is saying that if they're able to approve you for the loan, they're going to offer you $399 no matter what. And the way that they're able to do that $399 is that they are losing money on the financing side to make money on the real estate side, on the sale of the home. This is no different than when you go buy a car. A lot of times if you go buy a car, they'll say, hey, if you buy this car, we're offering you this special interest rate, but if you buy the exact same car used, we're not offering that. So basically, they're willing to lose money on the financing to capture your business on the sale. Net result is they still make money, even though they lost money on the financing side. So to you, it's not relevant. That's how. Now, you still have to apply. Just so you know, Lewis, you're still going to have to apply and make sure that you qualify for the program. But if you do, then yeah, you get the $399. It's a pretty sweet deal for sure. Something to definitely look into. Again, you book that one-to-one, more than happy to discuss it in more detail to make sure it's the right deal for you. All right, what else do we have? If I have an FHA loan on my primary home, how long do I have to wait to buy an investment property? Well, let me ask you this, Delenia. That's a great question. When you say buy an investment property, do you mean that the new property you're going to move into is the new property you're going to buy, is it going to be an investment right away? Or are you going to move into the new one and make the one you're in the investment? I know, very confusing, but all these details matter. Move into the new one. Perfect. So we're all clear. Delenia is saying if I own a home today, that's FHA, and I want to keep it to rent it out, and then going to go move into a new one. Maybe I'm upsizing, maybe I'm downsizing. Not relevant. How long do I have to be in that FHA loan? You signed a document when you bought the FHA house, Delenia, that your intent was to live in the property at least 12 months before doing anything else with it. That is the legal document you signed. Now, to be clear, are there exceptions because life happens prior to 12 months? There are, but they have to be legitimate. So in your particular case, I really recommend, I know I keep saying, but book a one-to-one so you and I can have a conversation with my team and I so we can help you understand this. Okay, very, very important. So I think, doing that one-to-one is going to give you a lot of answers there. Kenya, you have a great one as well. Great question. So the Florida Assist program is $10,000 not repayable unless you sell the house. It's not that it's not repayable. You're just not making payments throughout the time you live in the home. So Kenya, if you get all the way to the end of 30 years still living in the home, you've paid off the mortgage, but you still have that $10,000 debt that you still have to pay. It's just that $10,000 debt, you're not making any payments towards it while you live there. It's at 0% interest. So it's a really, really sweet deal, but it's not that it's not repayable. It is actually repayable at some point, right? So I want to make sure you understand that. I hope you have that helps there. Chanel, Diana, you guys have been quiet. Johnny, super quiet. Zoom user. I thought we had everyone's name. Did I miss someone? Oh, man. Has anyone booked an appointment yet? I can't see. I got all my monitors fixed here. I want to make sure I get to talk to someone. I didn't stay here and talk all to myself the whole night. All right, but what other questions do you guys have? All right, let me know. I'll tell you a couple good questions I get pretty weekly. Is it a good time to buy? I think that's always the question everyone says. Is this a good time to buy? Right? What do I mean, is it a good time to buy? Well, if it's a good time to buy, what does that mean, right? Well, I make it very clear. What are your intent with the home? If your intention with the home is to live in it, keep it long term, which I believe the majority in here said that's your goal, and your goal isn't to fix and flip homes, your goal isn't to be a flipper or an investor, and it's to keep it long term, the answer is a good time to buy now. Because if history has shown us anything regarding homes, so even if it goes down in value, as long as you keep making the mortgage payments and keep living in it, which would be no different than if you were renting, you just stay long in it long enough, it's going to go back up in value. Okay? It's going to go back up in value. Right? So absolutely important there. So the right time to buy if you're going to keep the home a long time is here. If you're going to be doing fix and flips and other type of creative financing stuff with real estate, we need to jump on a call because that is going to take a little bit more stuff to talk about to make sure we answer that. Hey, Lewis, clicking on the booking link does not book a call for tonight. I know I'm overzealous and full of energy, but clicking on the booking link for all of you guys, one, it's free again, but it's going to allow you to go ahead and actually pick a time and date for tomorrow, Friday. Heck, I take calls on Saturdays, so it just puts you on my team's calendar right away, just so you guys know. So click that link so you can do that. We got more questions. Is it true there are classes to take to be pre-qualified for first-time home buyer programs? Chanel, yes, this is true on most programs, not all programs. So what I tell clients is the last thing you want to do is go to a Saturday, Sunday class for 8 hours without knowing if you even qualify for the program, because I've seen this happen. And then you go to apply for the program, and it turns out you don't qualify, and you wasted 8 hours of your time in a class, basically not doing anything, right? Not making it happen. You don't want to do that at all. So what I recommend, again, first step is pick your team. Second step, consultation. Figure out what you're eligible for. And once you know what you're eligible for, then figure out what it actually takes to get qualified, which could be taking those classes. If so, my team and I are going to walk you on how to take those classes, how to take advantage of most of them. I would tell you 99% of them, we can help you take on most of them for free, but even better, online, not in person on the Saturday and Sunday, which means instead of getting done in 8 hours, you get done in like half the time or even quicker, or even better, it lets you save and come back and get it done. Like, yeah, don't do the whole just showing up to a class. But yes, it is true, just to answer the base question there. Delenia, if I have a credit score of 800, student loan debts, no other debts, are my chances of getting a better low interest rate? So having a high credit score does typically help get a better rate. You hear my word. The word is typically. In my world, because we're a broker, there's all sorts of programs and incentives happening all the time. I'll give you one that's happening literally right now. If someone right now has a credit score of a 620 or above, and they're applying for an FHA loan, I have a couple of lenders or a couple of banks right now literally offering the same interest rate that if you had that 800 credit score. However, that's for FHA. And then if you're applying for a conventional loan, completely different story. So the answer is yes, your chances are better. Absolutely, but not always. Yes, we can do that. Here's what we're going to do, Lewis. If it's okay with you, can I have someone reach out to you through text to schedule that? Awesome. We will do that, Lewis. I will make sure. I know we've been texting, so I will make sure my team reaches out through text to make that happen. If you could do me a favor and send us a text so I know it is you, we will make that happen, okay? Awesome. What other questions do we have, guys? I know a lot of information in a short amount of time. I do want to say I have seen a couple I got a couple of notifications. I see a couple of appointments coming through. Jeff, I think, had to leave us, but he booked one. Lewis, I know we're going to be booking a one-to-one, okay? So we'll make that happen at 7 p.m. Like I said, once we get your text, we will do that for sure to make that happen, okay? Who else here? Any other questions, guys? Like I told you, I don't want to leave until all your questions are answered. That's my goal. I accomplished my other goal, right? My other goal was what? To make sure you left with learning one new thing. I got a bunch of aces. So that was exciting. Missions are being accomplished. Lewis, I got the text. Thank you. We will reach out so we can schedule something, okay? You'll probably hear from us, if not here this evening, probably first thing in the morning, worst case scenario, but we'll make it happen. Absolutely. Guys, any more questions? Any more concerns? I don't want to leave you hanging. Don't leave me hanging. See you, Lewis. Have a good evening. Glad you and your wife were able to join. Chanel, I hope all your questions were also answered. Delania, Johnny, Kenya, the Zoom user. If not, please book those one-to-ones. I want to make sure that we answer everything, especially if it's something personal. You know, I want to ensure that you're getting what you need out of these meetings. I will be sending the replay as well, just so you guys know. So the recording will be sent out to all of you. So if there is something you want to re-watch, re-listen, we will be getting that back out to everyone. All right. Any other questions? Absolutely, Chanel. Hopefully, we're able to talk here soon in the next day or so if you're able to book that one-to-one. Said we do these even on the weekends. Okay, the appointments. So we will make it happen because we care. We want to help. We're not going to work those lazy banker hours. 9 or sometimes 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It sounds nice, but it doesn't help you guys. Especially if you find the home on a weekend or on a Sunday. Got to get that done. All right, guys. If you have nothing else for me, I don't see any more questions coming in. My pleasure, Delania. Thank you so much for joining on a Wednesday night, taking the time out. Again, I do these weekly, so please share share with your friends, share with your loved ones, share with your coworkers. If you hear anyone, I'm tired of renting, I want to buy a home. Let them know. Hey, I went to this awesome webinar. You can literally just do it from your phone and listen to it. The guy's wild and crazy and full of energy, but you're going to learn a lot. Share, share, share. We want to help. All right, cool, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start logging off then. If there's nothing else from anyone, and then we will be reaching out. Hopefully we can help you guys with those one-to-ones. We're going to look forward to meeting all of you.